This is my good friend and colleague, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It's 10:33. Let's get into it. Today's topic, inspiring. This is part of the 1033 Consulting series, Hiring Talent. We've gone through recruiting, training, retaining, and now inspiring. So you've got your staff, you've trained your staff, they're doing well. How do we get them to the next level? So Paul, my yes or no question. You get better work done when you're motivated to do it.
Yes, I say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I might be falling into a trap, but I say if you're motivated, you're more likely to get it done and probably in a faster manner.
Sure. I think the argument, the flip side of it could be, if I'm not motivated to do it, I might still actually do the same thing. But if I'm motivated, I'm willing to think outside of just the task at hand, what I can do to communicate it. I can go back through it and look through it. So I think overall, in the big picture, you're absolutely going to get more out of being motivated than if you're just doing the task right away. But you could say math. Like the answer to a math problem is going to be the same whether you're motivated to do it or not. Like the correct answer is there. But we're talking about people. This is the hospitality industry. We're talking about people greeting at the front door. We're talking about people taking care of guests. We're talking about people in the kitchen enjoying what they're doing. If you're not motivated to do that by something, I think your guests are going to see the results.
Oh, we talked about this in part 3. Guests, we can walk into a place and know really quickly if that staff is happy or not. It doesn't take much, doesn't take much observing, aggressive observation. You can learn a lot.
Do you think you can really inspire people to do the same simple tasks that they were going to do anyway?
Yeah. You can make it more fun.
Okay.
Inspire is a very broad meaning.
Good.
It could be something that's just,
easy.
It's true. But if you do the same thing over and over again and your boss makes it fun, you're still going to eat it. If it wasn't fun, you're still going to be doing the same thing over and over again. But if it's fun doing the same thing over and over again with the exact same results, so that's inspiring to me because my work doesn't suck.
Yep. I'd even say that's not the exact same results because there's going to be business growth. There's going to be work, home life balance. I think it's really going to help you out to feel good about the same tasks that you're doing day in and out. Maybe you're rolling silverware every single day. Maybe you're cleaning the bar floors every single day. Maybe you're scrubbing that margarita machine or cleaning the grease trap. And you do that every day or weekly or whatever it is, and you don't like doing it. But if you can find a way to enjoy your job, then those tasks will not bring you down, and the rest of your job's going to go even better. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in an interview that you already knew about the job, but you knew that this job, where it was going to be a complete flop?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How did you know? It was the same job. What's the difference?
But you can just tell by just by the structure of the interview and if it's boring. Sometimes if you're in it, it's just not engaged. They're not engaged. It's kind of like the repetitive. You just knew it's just not for me. And I think that's where, some of on both sides, you can find a lot out about it. When you're interviewing person, when I'm an employee, I'm interviewing the customer. The boss too, to see if I'm going to fit with them.
Mm-hmm. So you can tell, even though that this job is the same as this job, the workplace and the people there matter to how well you're going to like it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I completely agree. So how important is it for operators, for the managers to enjoy their job?
It trickles down. It comes from the top. Everything comes from the top. You can have the most motivated and inspired employee ever, but if you're not getting it from up top, that's gonna fizz out pretty quickly. I've seen it a lot. It's a little harder to have it up top and somebody below that doesn't have a lot of drive. It's harder to get them there, but you have a better chance of it happening. And you'll keep the people who are motivated and inspired to stay. So, you got to bleed your culture all the way from the top. It comes from the owner down, always.
Yep. So would you completely agree to make the statement that a manager's job is more than just the numbers, that this is the manager's job to inspire.
It is more important than the numbers.
Fantastic. Good. So if you are the manager, the owner, the leader, anyone who's in the industry who is looked up to at work, I'd say you hold some responsibility for motivating and inspiring others. So before we start talking about how to inspire others, let's put that responsibility where it belongs, and that's on leadership. And I'm going to dare to say it, that if you're not doing it, get out of the way. Find somebody who will. Is that fair to say?
That's fair. Not every owner is going to be inspiring leader. That's
Sure.
not it.
That's
but
fine.
You can bring in the management that is. There's a lot of, I don't know how to put it the best way, but there are people that just are the innovators and they inspire, and they're the rah. That's not everybody's personality. Everybody has a different personality trait, and you still can do that part. But there's some people that's what they're really good at, and those are the people you put in the management positions. If you're not that guy, I'm not a rah guy, but I'm not like monotone the whole time. But I would put somebody that's a little more rah to run the operations part of that. The GM. That makes any sense if I'm just talking on circles.
I know through these conversations and these episodes, like you look at me, you're like, that looks like the most fun guy ever. Like this Leslie, he's super fun, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not super fun. I rub a lot of people the wrong way, and I speak straight and direct, and I'm really not the fun person that you think I am. And I've had to learn that throughout. You're laughing, I've had to learn that through my career, is that I come across pretty harsh. I'm not a fun person, that I have sometimes too high of expectations. And in that, I've learned that management balance about the numbers and the expectations and the goal setting has to be balanced with some of that fun and culture. And so I've surrounded myself on teams, making sure that I've got people that have that. And there's been times where I've had mentors like, why would you hire him or her? They can't do this. I'm like, yeah, but I can do all that. I'm happy to make the schedules and make the adjustments and do the reviews and work the numbers and the inventories. I'm happy to do all that because I know this part of my business is getting taken care of by somebody who thrives in that area.
I agree. I'm not, this, I don't hide it. I'm very blunt, to the point. I do consider people's feelings a little more than you do. You're just mean. But I mean, the reason, and I say this, the reason I'm good at what I do now is because I've made mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes. I know where my strengths lie. I know where my weaknesses lie. Can I speak to those? Of course I can. Now, but if I was building a team and I needed somebody to be the interpersonal communication star, I would bring somebody in for that. I can talk to people, but there's some people I've worked with. I was like, I don't know how they do that. The way they communicate, people just gravitate and are like in awe and stop and just listen. I don't have that. That's not where my strengths lie. I can do the basic jobs of it, of course, but it's not a weakness to bring in people that are, I think it's a strength. You bring in people that are better at something than you are because you can focus on this. That is smart in my book. That's what a good GM does. They bring in their managers, our strengths in different areas.
Yep. And we talked about recruiting and bringing people in that are able to do the task. And you might be interviewing a general manager as an owner, and you're thinking, oh, they're really good at these things that I'm really good at. Well, I'm sorry, you may want to consider not bringing in that 10-year experienced general manager who's really good at numbers because you're good at numbers. You might want to bring in that more junior manager who can do the things that you may not be able to do. Or the other way around. If you're the fun-loving manager who people really get along with, but, those numbers are attacking you at the end of the day, maybe just hire an accountant. Find the parts of your job. in your business that you need to take care of, and make sure that you have them all listed out and assign those tasks and responsibilities appropriately to the right people. Because inspiring the staff that you have, getting them motivated to do the day in and day out tasks that they're doing, is something that's absolutely part of your job as a manager and a leader. And it's absolutely something that's imperative for growth in your business. This is the hospitality industry. If people don't enjoy coming to your establishment, it's not going to happen. This is not the hardware store where they don't care about the atmosphere. They just want to hammer in some nails and leave. We're creating an atmosphere. We've got to provide that, and we've got to make sure that that type of inspiration is there within the facility.
Absolutely. But I would argue I've been to some really nice hardware stores that are pretty much
I know.
really like, hey, how you doing? Welcome. And I don't even get that when I walk into my local bar.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, I can also think of like some hardware stores where people are super outgoing and friendly.
I know. Like, oh, what are you looking for? Like, wait, what? What are you talking to me for?
I'm here for hammers. Yeah.
Hammers.
And why I buy a hammer every year, I don't know. Maybe I should just keep up with the hammer that I bought the first time.
I like the new technology.
I upgraded my hammer.
Upgraded. I got inspired, and I was like, oh, that looks good.
Oh, that's funny. It's not hard to do, getting back to it, that if you're the numbers guy, you're the serious one, you're the agenda, it's not hard to do. In fact, I've got a watch. I've got this smartwatch that tracks my actions throughout the day. And I love it. I know some people don't, but one cool thing it does is it expects me to get up and walk, or stand specifically, once an hour. Do you have one? Do you have the same watch?
Does it look like I have something that makes me get up and walk?
My bad.
No, I don't.
So I've got this watch that reminds me, hey, the hour's almost up. Let's make sure you get up and stand. And I might be focused on writing. I might be focused on gaming. I may be in the middle of a movie or dinner or whatever. Well, if I was dinner, I'd be standing. But whatever it is that I'm doing, my watch will start rattling off right here and like telling me, stand up, stand up, stand up. And sometimes I stand up just to make sure it's happening. But it feels good, and it allows me to break what's happening. And sometimes I get up and I go outside and I go on a walk, and I turn it into this much longer than the 1 minute it asked me to do. And sometimes I'm so focused that I break what I'm doing, stand up, achieve the goal, and get back to the task that I was doing. And my point here is that I get really focused on some things, just like some managers and leaders out there might do. But I cannot tell you the impact that you'll have to your team if you find a way to break the monotony. You're in emails, you're in meetings, whatever's happening, find a way to pause that, go spend 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is, to go see your team and be available for them. That availability, for however short a period of time it is, can easily inspire some people that they know if they had a problem, where to go.
Yeah.
It's the same with guests in the restaurant. If I see a manager, I'm more likely to bring up an issue that I have. And as operators, I hope you want feedback from your guests. That availability, that presence is what's going to get it there for you. Because if I've got an issue in a restaurant and I don't see a manager, I might walk away with that issue. And now I leave thinking that restaurant has an issue. But if I see a manager, I bring that issue to them. And now I think that restaurant has problem solvers.
Yeah.
And you're going to do the same thing for your team. And you're really going to go a long way in a short period of time to make sure that they feel inspired and want to do well on the things that they do.
And it could be as simple as having fun. We brought in when we had our when we had our pre-staff meetings, we used to bring in magicians, just do a little set, and it was just fun. And then we played games, and those games, like, whoever sells the most cobbler. And it wasn't just to get stuff out. We built in a lot of stuff just to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of competition, a little bit of just to liven it up, so they're not just monotony of doing it over and over again. And that is inspiring, those little things, and then they know that you care. They might think it's cheesy, but at
Sure.
least they know you care.
Yep. And for the staff that you have that's looking to hide out and not achieve, I don't care how hokey or silly or whatever you're doing is, they are not inspired to be lazy anymore because he's out of the office, he's watching me. I'm like, well, actually, I was out here because this is the place that I operate and I'm watching my operations. But if you feel like I'm watching you, then that's on you. And
Yeah.
hopefully now you're inspired to do something that you weren't going to do when I was just sitting in the office all day. Have you ever worked with somebody who just stayed in the office for the majority of the shift?
I seen me do it.
Oh,
Early in my
what is that?
career, I did.
What is it?
I definitely did.
What does that do to the floor, to the team, to the
It
guests?
was detrimental. Absolutely detrimental. I was, young and dumb, didn't know better,
Mhm.
until it was brought to my attention. One of my really good GM friend of mine is like, what are you doing? I was like, I need you on the floor. Like, well, for what? And there's like 4 tables out there. It's not the point. They said, you need to be at the point. That's the
Mhm.
point. I want to see if it's slow and you want to go sit at the hostess stand and give the hostess a break, or if you wanted to go on the
Yep.
slide or the expo, and you need to be doing something, and because you will be, that's where we need you. Period. That's what you're good at. So, and it changed my, thought of it. Like, oh, that makes complete sense. Because I mean, early in my career, I thought when servers came in to give me their checkout, I was like, oh, another one. Go to my job,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that part, but that's part of my job. And then hiding out in the office, so I have to deal with it. Obviously, eventually, you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. And if you've got that attitude, then they're going to embrace that same attitude when you're like,
Yeah,
hey, I need you to roll silverware. I need you to clean this. And they're like, oh, I've got to roll silverware. I'm like, it's
yeah,
your job.
yeah.
Like,
But and
if,
again, they need to see you roll silver at least one point. Lead by example. I'm not
mhm.
saying you have to roll all the silver, and you don't have to be the best at it, but just the fact that you're doing it and I'm telling you, I learned this from, like I said, making mistakes and learning from those mistakes, and I just try to stay in that same rut and trying to figure out, looking in the mirror and figuring out how can I get better at this. And the one that came up with was just be present. If you preach open door policy, never close your door unless you're counting money. Don't close your door.
Sure. Yep. That safe is closed. Open the door. Yep. The
Yes,
safe and the door should be the opposite. Yeah.
they should be. You know
Absolutely.
what? That should be. We should make $1 million. That'd be connection. You touch open the safe and it just slams the door shut, even if
So
somebody's standing there.
edit that part out of this so that nobody takes it. We're just kidding. We don't have any
Yeah.
viewers. Nobody's going to
I'm
take
not
that.
going to edit it out. Yeah. Please do not do what we say.
But that's it. That's the simplest thing that leaders, managers, operators can do to inspire their team is to be present. Get up, walk out, go engage with them, engage with the guest, improve your operations just by being there. I hope you've hired the right people, you've trained them the right way, and you're recruiting and you're retaining, you're doing all the things that you need to that they can do their job and you're just there for support. That's an amazing feeling. And what's even better is it's going to compound and turn into more inspiration because they know that you're there and you're not micromanaging. That tells them I'm doing a great job and he's here. That's even better.
Yeah.
It's such a big feeling and it's going to drive profits if you can get out of the office, be present, and show your team that you care.
Yeah. I mean, you're moving. We talked about this in our previous one, moving from boss, to coach and eventually mentor.
Yeah.
Um, and that if you're coaching somebody, you're not their boss.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to help them get better.
Shoulder to
And
shoulder. Yeah.
yeah, and it's most of the times because, listen, I've made that mistake. You don't
Yep.
need to make the mistake because I'm going to show you how not to.
Yep.
It's not pointing and telling people to do things. It's becoming a coach and eventually a mentor, and that's when you want to help them build their career forward. And that's how you be inspirational. They don't say, "Hey, well, that boss was inspirational." They say that coach was inspirational.
Yep.
They don't hire coaches because of their on the field prowess.
Right.
If they did, then Peyton and Manning would be in coaching right now.
Mhm.
They hire coaches because they inspire their team, and it's the same thing. And
Mhm.
some are good at it, and some are not. Some are good at the hard skills, and some
Mhm.
are good at the soft skills. You can be inspiring at both, but it's just how you communicate with your staff. And like you said, stand shoulder to shoulder and go into your work, together and not separate.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Does that
absolutely.
make any sense whatsoever?
Total, because in the training side of things, you're the boss. Here's what I need you to do. And that could be the same thing when there's mistakes or errors. But once you get into the part where they're functioning, they know what their job is, you've got to move into that coach part of great job with this, that inspiration part, like acknowledgement of what's going, great job, now let's go this way. Great job, now let's go this way, because they know what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, you skipped that boss training section, and you're never going to get into the coaching and inspiration. And we're certainly never going to get to the mentoring where they're off doing it on their own and they're moving to a point where they're telling you what their aspirations are. We're not going to get there if you didn't start off as a boss and transition with each person, with each position, with each step of the way in your operations. And it's so important that you're out there and you're focused on what's happening and that you're not just blinders on looking at the numbers sitting in the office. Like, you got to get out and you got to see it, and you got to be able to do that stuff later if you need to.
100% agree.
So before we start wrapping up this series, like, we're cruising, man. This is awesome.
I know.
Let's stick to inspiring, and just like previous ones where we took a deep dive into some specifics, we're talking a lot about presence here as part of inspiring people. And there's a lot more that you can do as a owner, operator, manager in order to inspire people on your team. Being present, which we're talking in detail here, is just one of them. So let's talk a little bit about some other things that we can do. And one of those things, just to list them off, would be career pathing. A lot of people are really interested in knowing what's the next step, what's the next step. And I think you need to outline that for your staff. And that comes through the training curriculum that we talk about in the training part of the series, making sure they know what the next steps are so that they can see what they're getting to, and it's going to inspire them to do the job that they're doing because they know what else might be coming next, and it's realistic and attainable for them. And that's really going to motivate a lot of people. Can you think of anything else?
No, I mean, just reward people for their achievements. I think that is one thing that's really missed in this industry. If they go above and beyond, they need to be recognized for it. Or if they meet a milestone, they need to be recognized for it. And little one, it's something as simple as congratulations. Hey, thank you. It doesn't have to be monetary every single time. People want it. People need it. I tell when we train servers, we say I never got a complaint online by somebody saying thank you too many times. Everybody should say thank you when they leave the door. It's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with complimenting your staff on it. They're not going to work less hard. Yeah. So I think, just compliment, have achievements, make it fun, have rewards. There's nothing wrong with rewarding great service. Or, hey, you had the lowest comp this month. If you have a competition at the lowest comp and you give $100 and it saved you 200, money. So, I mean, like, it's directly related. If you inspire your staff, they will stay longer, which will save you money. They will work harder, which will make you more money. And they'll make a better atmosphere, which will be easier to find talent, better to retain talents. And then you work as a team, and it'll be easier to train talent. So I think this is the end of it, but it kind of all comes in together, and you need to do well at every stage to kind of get to where the perfect staff, which never exists, but to get where you want to be and be make more money. Because let's be honest, this is why we're doing this, is to make money. Might as well have fun doing it.
And if you're inspiring people, when jerks like me come in to poach your staff, they're going to laugh at me and say, I'm totally happy here. Good luck with your own business. Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to poach. I'm not a poacher.
Sure.
Unless you're really good.
I can't help it. So a couple other things just that you can do to help inspire staff, and I'm sure we're going to have an episode on these. Team building. Out if you can afford it, if you're ready for it, take them out. It doesn't have to be big and expensive, but it needs to be something that recognizes them off the clock or whatever you can do. Team meetings, and as bad of a word as meetings sound, checking in and that and communication is so important. And then something else that might be a little bit out of the box, like think about your branding, like new uniforms. You got new uniforms, not only is it an opportunity for you to reward your staff, but maybe you're combining this motivation, inspiration with your need to actually improve your marketing and your brand. Like you're like, oh, I need to do this, and oh, I'll turn it into motivation and reward because I was going to do it anyway. So a lot of ways that you can find inspiration through the simple things that you're already doing.
I got one.
Yeah.
My favorite one of all time. Bring in a food truck. Bring in a taco truck or something like that. Say, guess what? Because not only that, the kitchen doesn't have to cook. You feed the kitchen. You feed the staff. It's all taken care of. The food trucks don't mind because you do it on a downtime. It's usually the exact opposite at times anyway, so it's perfect. You put it in the parking lot, so everybody so you come in, you do it for a couple shifts, whatever. Do it for a meeting, but bringing in a food truck, I've seen is awesome.
Love it.
I want a taco.
Good, quick examples. I hope clearly you're going to have presence there and some of these other tips. So final question, Paul. If you know that you've got a team, you're an operator and you feel like your team is not motivated, not inspired, is it too late?
No, not necessarily. It can be. I mean, you could be way past the expiration date, but it's never too late. There's always some way you can freshen it up. People are forgiving. They love giving people second chance. So if it was you, if you look in the mirror and going, I didn't do this correctly, and you sit down your staff and say, I'm going to do this better, and you're going to see how. I don't see many staff they might go, I don't believe you, but they see you start doing it. They're going to be like, oh, well, he's not joking around, or she's not joking around. So I think that it's never too late. I've been in situations where it's been too late. I've seen some toxic where you need to clean house, unfortunately, and it's usually clean house at the top, not the bottom. It's like management.
Yeah, replacing the bussers or the dishwashers isn't going to change your culture.
No, it's usually it comes to the top. So I don't think there's I think that's my simple answer to that, my friend.
Yep, I agree. Sometimes, like you said, take responsibility, and sometimes even if it's not your own fault, you're like, you know what, leadership from the top. You got to do it, and you got to say, I'm responsible for this and what's going to move forward. So, phenomenal series. This is part 4 of the full 1033 consulting hiring talent. We went through recruiting, we went through training, we went through retaining, and now inspiring. And I hope that you've gained a lot from this. I've had a whole lot of fun from it. I know that we can get a lot more specific in a lot of areas that we need to. Hopefully anyone watching has picked up on some great tips, opened your eyes to areas where their operations can improve, and that you've seen some great strategies to recruit, to train, to retain, to inspire talent. Share your thoughts, leave us a comment, help others that might be able to learn from mistakes or successes that you had. Ask questions. We're happy to get back to you. Make a suggestion on what you'd like us to take a deeper dive into. Paul, any final notes on our first series?
No, I like it.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, this has been inspiring. Part 4 of 4 in the 1033 consulting series, hiring talent. Be sure to follow the channel, show some love. We'll keep coming back with more strategies and insights to help your operations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.